Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's crazy.
You will still have your, will still grow next year. You've got plenty of root in you.
Yeah, I mean, part of this thing was just there's a bunch of rocks around there, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
the roots from the albizia.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things kind of inhibiting it.
She's doing what it can.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of lateral
I tend to rely on
roots
other people.
because that's where it was easiest to grow. I think that's good.
Boy, this is doing I have a little tiny patch.
You can smell it at this point, huh?
I
Yeah,
smell
I
it.
can,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
sweet.
That's the characteristic aroma of the Cadenopsis.
Oh, wow,
Yeah, that's
got me.
yeah, it's really interesting, right?
It's
'Cause
really strong.
I was the same way. I was like here, and then all of a sudden I could it just hit me. I think that's lovely. Do you want to? Is that good, or we should just do that one?
I think so.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, let's go wash that one,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're done. Who wants to wash it? Let's go. Somebody go wash it.
Washing team.
Points of personal pride is that I haven't fucked up the garden any more than necessary. You know what I mean? I'm a Katie. I did okay, right?
You did it. You did great.
I didn't mindlessly chop into anything else, and I didn't cross paths with any of the stuff. Really, I didn't sacrifice little limbs off any of the
Gold stars,
other
gold
Cadenopsis
stars.
leaves in the ground.
How old do you estimate that this one is? It's been in here a while.
Probably 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I thought maybe a little bit too long.
The roots are very different. A lot of lions on them. Seems like.
Shen Cadenopsis is, originally emerged as a substitute for ginseng, Renshen, although I think it's like a really poor substitute. And like in Chinese medicine, they'll tell you, you just, it's like a substitute at a 5-to-1 ratio, where no one really does 5-to-1 either. Most people do like 2.5 or something, where it's like formula says 10 grams of Renshen, and then they subs like 30 grams of Dongshen. But it's a lot different. I mean, the chemistry of ginseng, primarily ginsenoids, and then Cadenopsis is like beta-cytosterol and tongschenoside, which is probably the crossover to the ginsenosides. But anyway, going back to flavor and temperature stuff, like Dongshen is neutral and sweet. Renshen is possibly, and so that leads to a lot of the conundrum too, where it's like high mountain ginseng is actually cooler, and as it comes down the mountain it gets warmer, and then a lot of the warm feature of ginseng is actually due to the Hongshen processing, the power boiling. When you look at the use of Renshen in the original formulas, like there's a formula Baihutong. Baihutong is for fever and sweating and a rapid pulse. And if it continues for a really long time and you have exhaustion of fluids, you add Renshen to restore fluids. And primarily that's what ginseng is used for in the classics which is to restore fluids.
Fluids.
And you're not going to restore fluids with a hot
Really
medicinal.
hot, yeah,
Uh-uh.
yeah. So that's.
And so it's actually almost like a yin tonic in the classical literature. It's not a yin tonic, but it restores nutritive, which is the yin, to the yin and the shui, which is kind of like the white part of blood, possibly. Or, I mean, then you get to the white part, and you're like, there's the white part. That's the latex, and that's the mucilaginous substance. And so then we kind of reach to the doctrine of signatures and these ideas that, well, now we've just crossed over from Ren Shen to Dong Shen. And at some point, like Ren Shen has this warm thing, and it enters the kidneys, and it can tonify the yuan qi, the original qi, and in that sense it can tonify everything else. Dong Shen does not enter the kidney, it doesn't tonify the original qi. It's pretty much just working on postnatal, spleen and stomach, and it's doing that not necessarily in a functional way where it's like helping the function, it's actually helping the substance by providing nutritive replenishment. And so when we look at this idea of so Dong Shen is sweet of taste, and with a balanced nature, it's used to boost the spleen and benefit the lung, nourish blood, and generate body fluids with good effect. So Dong Shen doesn't appear in the classical texts. Ren Shen does. Dong Shen doesn't appear until like the Bensao Day. Whatever. It doesn't appear until like 1750 in the Pharmacopoeia, and then that's emerging out of that whole thing of like Ren Shen being over-harvested. Now we're seeing the emergence of this other medicinal as a substitute for Ren Shen, and now we're giving it its own name. It's no longer Shen, Dong, Ren Shen. Now it's just Dong Shen. And then it enters into the Pharmacopoeia, and it's differentiated. It has these functions, and so here we are at this point looking at it. We harvested it today, and I would say that the Dong Shen, it's ideal to harvest in the 3rd or 4th year. We harvested it here before, and we harvested it in the 2nd year, and we harvested it in the 3rd year, and then we analyzed it in the herb lab. We used the Lobotelian standard and beta-cytosterol, and we did HPLC and thin layer chromatography. And you could see like what I was describing before, where the 2nd year had a few big peaks, and then the 3rd year had many more peaks of smaller size, but of a overall or larger volume, essentially,
So kind of more balanced and less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, looking at the material, we want to try to compare it to what we have here listed, and we long, cylindrical, slightly curved. And if we look at some of the pictures in these books, like that's a good picture, right? Like that's ideal. And so we see what happened is like ours hit rocks and hit clay and had to make left and right turns and stuff. And isn't gonna ever grow to be 2 feet long cylinders.
Flowers look like they're just flowers.
Yeah. So externally yellowish or grayish brown. We have the technical term lion's head bun, or the numerous warty prominent stem scars and buds on the rootstock. And so that's all of these things.
Yeah, wow, look at them all. Huh.
Yeah, and you can see it on the material there.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the dried?
So yeah, good question. So this is the dried stuff. That's the other weird thing. So this is what I get from my high quality supplier, where they chop it up, and I think I might have got that in Chinatown, but that's in the last 20 years, for a long time, for decades, it's like that was the material that we got, was root strips. And they were about this long, and then it was like 10 years ago, they were twice that wide. And those are all probably 3rd-year specimens grown in really good growing regions. In the last couple of years, if you get those pieces, they're really skinny, and primarily we get these things which are either sliced, and then the worst case scenario is if they're cut and sifted. And my feeling is that now we're moving into things that are like harvested in the 1st year.
Trying to get,
You can also see like the price in the last 10 years has jumped to like $10 a pound, $6 a pound. So
it gets really sweet after you chew it for a little bit.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah, and so that becomes some of the, well, moving on. I mean, that, one of the other technical terms, or the terms that is used is, it says it leaves little residue after chewing. So that's one of the stereotypical concepts of the Dongshan. When you chew on it for a while, it's like there won't be, you'll get the sweet, and it just dissolves in your mouth.
It finally goes away, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
When we look at like the differences between the material,
Instead of intonation, the cheese.
Cadenopsis, Palossula, Barmedusta. Here we have the dense transverse annulations under the root head, and we can see them here. I mean, when you look at the material, you can see them. What we notice is it's not super impressive. Like well, a few pieces have better here. Some dense or here is probably, that's the best example.